All right, check this out. Firecrawl just blew past 98,000 stars on GitHub. And honestly, once you see what this thing does, you'll totally get why. Imagine this. One simple API call turns any website into clean, structured, LLM-ready data. Yeah, I'm talking no more proxy headaches, no more JavaScript render nightmares, and forget about the scrapers that are always breaking. Stick with me, because in the next 60 seconds, I promise you'll have your first scrape up and running. Let's do this. Okay, so first, let's talk about the problem. Because if you're building with AI, you know this pain all too well. Web scraping is, well, it's just broken, right? All you want is some clean markdown or maybe some structured JSON. But what do you get instead? A massive, massive headache. You know the drill. You're fighting with JavaScript rendered pages that just give you back empty HTML. You get blocked by anti-bot systems left and right. You're trying to figure out how to capture dynamic content that only shows up after you scroll. You need to get behind logging walls. And after all that, after you spend days building a scraper, it just breaks a week later. It's this endless, frustrating cycle of maintenance that just absolutely kills your productivity. But this is where things get really, really interesting. Firecrawl was built to handle all of that, all of it, with just a single, reliable API call. It was literally designed from the ground up to solve the exact problems we were just complaining about. So, what is it? Simply put, Firecrawl is an API that can take pretty much any website and just turn it into clean, usable data for your LLMs. We're talking beautiful markdown, structured JSON, screenshots, raw HTML. Seriously, you name it, it can probably do it. And listen, this isn't just some random hobby project. Firecrawl is backed by Y Combinator. In benchmark tests, it hits over 80% coverage. That means it outperforms every other provider they tested it against. That is industry-leading reliability. So yeah, those 98,000 GitHub stars, they're not an accident. People love this thing for a reason. So how does it do all this? Well, it has 6 core features. You've got scrape, search, browse, map, crawl, and the real powerhouse, agent. We're going to touch on all of these, but first things first, let's actually get some data. All right, it's time for that 60-second demo I promised. I'm going to show you just how ridiculously fast it is to go from zero to clean, usable data. Ready? Okay, let's start with the absolute simplest way possible, a single curl command. That's it. You pass in the URL you want, you add your API key, and boom, you get back clean LLM-ready markdown. No libraries to install, no dependencies to manage, just one API call. Not a curl fan? No problem. Of course there's an SDK. Here's the Python version. And get this, it is literally 3 lines of code. You just import the library, initialize the client with your API key, and then call app.scrape. And the output? You guessed it. Perfectly clean, markdown, ready to be dropped right into a RAG pipeline. Okay, but wait. This is the real magic. This is the agent endpoint. Take a look at the prompt on the left. You don't even need a URL anymore. You just describe what you want in plain English, like find the pricing plans for Notion, and Firecrawl's own AI agent goes out, searches the web, navigates the site, and extracts that data for you. It's insane. And the best part? You can get this data back as perfectly structured, validated JSON. You can either give it a schema to define the exact field you're looking for, or you can just skip the schema entirely and pass in a simple prompt like extract the company mission. It is unbelievably flexible. Okay, are you sold yet? Let's get you set up. There are a few super easy ways to get this integrated into your workflow. First up, you can just use the direct API with curl. 0 installation needed. Option 2, for all you Python folks, it's a simple pip install firecrawl py. 3, for Node.js developers, npm install @mendable/firecrawljs. And finally, my personal favorite, you can install the CLI and the skill for your AI agents with a single npx command. All you need to do is grab an API key from firecrawl.dev. Don't worry, there's a free tier so you can start playing around right away. All right, now let's do a proper deep dive into the full toolkit. These are the power features that really make Firecrawl the definitive solution for getting data off the web. So, the scrape endpoint, that's your daily driver, your workhorse. It can convert any URL into all those formats we talked about. But what's really crucial here are the actions. This means before it extracts the data, you can tell Firecrawl to, say, click a button, scroll down the page, or even type into a login form. This is how you get behind those off walls and navigate complex sites without writing a line of Puppeteer. Next up, the search endpoint. This is a total game changer if you're building any kind of research tool. You perform a web search, and instead of just getting a boring list of URLs back, you get the full, scraped, markdown content from each of those pages. Think about that. You get the answers, not just a list of links to the answers. Browse. Okay, this is how you give your AI agents actual superpowers. It's basically a secure, remote browser that you can control. You can execute playwright code or even just simple bash commands. And it has persistent sessions, which means your agent can log into a site and just stay logged in, even across multiple different tasks. So cool. Map and Crawl are a dream team. They work together perfectly. First, you use Map to instantly discover every single URL on a website, like a sitemap on steroids. Then, you just feed that whole list into a single crawl request, and boom, it scrapes the entire site for you. It handles all the messy pagination and polling. You don't have to worry about any of it. And that brings us to the crown jewel, the agent. We've already seen it, but it's worth saying again. This is the ultimate endpoint. You just describe the data you need in plain English, and the AI takes care of everything else. Now, for the agent, you've got two models to pick from. For most of your day-to-day tasks, Spark 1 Mini is going to be perfect. And hey, it's 60% cheaper, which is awesome. But if you're doing really complex research, maybe comparing data across a bunch of different sites, or when accuracy is absolutely critical, that's when you'll want to reach for the more powerful Spark 1 Pro. So that all sounds great, but how are people actually using this in the real world? Let's look at a few powerful use cases that show why this is such a big deal. First up, building a RAG pipeline. This is a no-brainer. Just point the crawl endpoint at your documentation site, and you get clean markdown for every single page, all ready for your vector DB. A single API call replaces what used to be a whole custom scraping pipeline. Second, think competitive intelligence. You can use the agent to monitor a competitor's pricing page every week, and it'll give you back structured JSON every time. And third, probably the coolest one, just give your AI agent web access. Install a Firecrawl skill, and now your agent can search, scrape, and browse the web all just using natural language. So, where is all this headed? Let's take a quick look at the future of Firecrawl and how you can be a part of it. The vision here is super clear. Making web data extraction as simple as asking a question. That agent feature? That's the future. And remember, Firecrawl is open source under the AGPL 3.0 license. It's actively maintained, and with community SDKs popping up in languages like Go and Rust, the whole ecosystem is just growing like crazy. So here's the bottom line. If you are building anything with AI that needs data from the web, Firecrawl is the API you should be using. I mean, 98,000 developers on GitHub already agree. The link to get started is right there in the description. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What will you build when any website on the internet is just one simple API call away?